Today I will be discussing about something which is very close to my heart, that is temple recreation or temple reconstruction. This is the temple which is on the sides of the face, which give a framing to the face, and in addition to the hairline, which is the gateway to the face, temple is very essential to get the right kind of definition of the face. When the temple is receded or washed out due to baldness, then the forehead looks bigger because the hairlessness gets increased. If somebody has got a receding hairline as well as he has got a receding temple, then that both would kind of, that will end up giving a bigger forehead because of the hairlessness both horizontally and vertically. If it is rightly present, then the face looks very articulated, kind of looks like an poetry. If it is not there, then it is disproportionately, the face looks bigger and wider. It looks like something is wrong on the face if the temple is not there. Temple, when reconstructing, if you are not doing a lot of things correct, like the angle of the hair, the amount of the hair, the direction of the hair, the quality of the hair, then it will be catastrophic. If anything goes wrong, then the new hair on the temple, they would be growing, but they would be kind of in a very bizarre kind of shape. The temple would be bizarre kind of, the hair would be growing outward, they would be growing kind of very unruly. So that would be more catastrophic than not having a temple. Typically, a temple is a triangular structure. It has got a vertical arm, it has got a horizontal arm, and of course it has got a angle, the apex. Each and every element of the temple is very important. The vertical line is not exactly vertical, it is kind of in a vertical line, and depending upon the facial cut, the temple varies. Sometimes it is really standing, sometimes it is a little bit angulated. You have to understand that it is always customized to any individual face. And the horizontal line is not exactly horizontal line, but mostly it goes as if like the lower portion of the temple goes as if parallel to the eyebrows. Not always true, but mostly it is true. And the angle, the apex of the temple, that is the angle, it is usually acute. Now the temple, the outer side of the temple, that is the outer side of the both vertical line or the horizontal line and the apex, the hair quality is very different. The hair is usually they are like singles, they are very thin, very slow growing, and they don't grow long, and they are very lighter, maybe around 4 to 5 layers of hair, both the outer side of the temple, both up and below, they are very lighter, and they don't grow long, so they are baby kind of hair. So when we are reconstructing the temple, we should be aware of all those things. Picking those category of hair from either nape of the neck or just above the ear or maybe behind the ear, on the front of the ear, you have to, and it is not always that it is the nape of the neck that we should be searching for a patient. You have to search all those areas where the hair is this kind of like thin, slow growing, and very light. So whether to do a temple or not, that is very important. If a patient is young and the speed of the baldness is very rapid, then you should not be attempting the temple, because that he will become grade 7, grade 6, and this will also recede. Then we'll have, if you are done a procedure on the temple in the young age, then we'll have hair over here, and the baldness will be behind that, and there will be halo around the grown hair. That will look very ugly. And if somebody is, let's say 40, not very young, but if the baldness is very rapidly progressing, then also we should not be touching the temple area. So you should be knowing when to do it, when not to do it, and what kind of hair that are really required to recreate the temple, and the angulation and the direction. The angulation, here comes something called curl. Curl is that is the curvature of the hair. What happens is, any hair that goes out of the skin, it has got an angle to the skin, angle to the base of the skin, and after the certain angle, that angle of exit, it falls on the skin, and if it is grown more than 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, then you can start directing it to any direction. Like if you see my hair, they all have the frontal hair, they're around 15 to 25 degree to the skin, but after they have grown, I've kept them up. I could have kept them on the side, left or right. So that means the direction of the hair or the parting of the hair is decided or done aesthetically or cosmetically later on, but anatomically the angle of exit is fixed. So also in the temple, anatomically the angle of exit is close to 5 degree or maybe less than 5 degree to the skin. It is almost slips on the skin, it is very flat, and once the hair has left the skin, it goes and falls back on the skin. This is the curl, it falls on the skin back. If the curl is not done properly, then hair would, it will be like this, it will be upside down, it will be standing. That will be very, very catastrophic. So the curl has to be correct, the angle has to be correct, and then come to direction. The hair over here, the vertical line, the hair is a little bit, they go back and downward, and if you go to the lower side of the vertical line, they gradually become little bit transverse, or they become parallel to the ground, or maybe parallel to the eyebrows. That is very, very essential to understand. Otherwise, if all the hair are going backward and downward till the lower portion of the vertical line, then that will not match. So gradually once they go down, down and down, the direction goes transversely. And the lower portion, as I said, lower part, like the transverse line, around 4 to 5 layers of the hair, they all are almost transversely placed parallel to the ground or parallel to the eyebrows, and after that it goes very smoothly, gets kind of merged with the side locks. So we have to understand each and every hair that we put on the side locks, that counts. That is very, very essential. They should be thoughtful. We should not be putting any random hair over there. Then again, if you put thicker hair on the front, like the outer side of the vertical line and the horizontal arm, what will happen is the thicker hair, with the weight of the hair, they will fall down, they will fall, and they will look very unruly. They will look as if something is hanging, the mangoes are hanging from the trees, so that will look very, very ugly. So the hair cannot be very thick. As I said, the hair has to be very, very thin. They should be slow growing, less pigmented, and and right angle, right direction, then only it will go. And another thing is the temple should merge with the hair behind that, or the pre-existing hair. The merging also very, very important. We should not be putting too much of thick hair over there, we should not be putting too much of hair over there, and otherwise the merging will be very, very bad. So if the temple is recreated well according to if you respect the anatomy, respect the angle, respect the color, and respect the future of the baldness, or the progression of the baldness, then we'll do it well. And it has to be under corrected. If you over correct it, then sometimes we'll be repenting about that later, and then we'll have to extract the grafts. So do some kind of under correction, and we should know when not to do it. Like I just said, young patients, and when the baldness is very rapidly progressing, then we should not be doing it. If we respect all these things, then we'll be creating something very, very gratifying. And as I said, if it is rightly done, then there is nothing better than this in terms of gratification that we get out of hair transplant. And if you done badly, then it will be the most catastrophic thing to the patient, because it's just in front of the face. Here it is standing, it is looking. So temple is also important in case of females. It is not that prominent as like males, but a lot of females, they have very small subtle temple, and you have to respect that. And if you recreate that temple in the females, then that is the best thing. In my experience of more than 10 years of hair restoration now, with more than 6,000 patients as a whole in our group, we have realized that temple recreation is the most artistic thing, most challenging thing, also very gratifying. So we end up doing 4 or 5 temples every week, and we'll be writing a paper upon how to do the temples. And I always say, do it once, do it right, choose the right doctor, and go through his old patients, go through his old record, and do the right decision. Thank you.